OSHA requires employers to provide their employees with a safe place to work. Employers must provide proper training and equipment to do the job. They must also make the relevant OSHA standards available to each worker who attends the training. If you were the safety manager of a manufacturing plant, how would you create a culture of safety? Employers create a culture of safety through a variety of practices and initiatives. These include continuous improvement, emergency preparedness and response, job hazard analysis, standard operating procedures, training and orientation, and warning signs. Continuous safety improvement is a key part of a successful safety program. Companies accomplish this goal by organizing groups like safety committees and encouraging input from individual employees. To help employees keep safety on their minds at all times, many companies ask their employees to write a personal commitment to safety statement and to repeat it daily to others in the company. Performing a routine walk-through safety inspection is a good way to determine if safety measures in place are working, or if improvements are needed. When an accident does happen, quick response is key. Knowing how to properly respond in an emergency is crucial. Employees must be aware of the following: telephone numbers to the local police and fire departments, emergency exit locations, evacuation routes, location of first aid kits, and location of emergency showers and eye wash stations. A job hazard analysis, or hazard analysis, is the process employers use to reduce workplace dangers. Each step in a particular job is reviewed to identify possible hazards that may arise. Job hazard analysis allows employers to identify potential problems in the work process and make corrections to prevent injury. A job hazard analysis is similar to a job safety analysis, but adds a risk assessment. Standard operating procedures, or SOP, are detailed documents that explain each step in a work process. They provide the backbone for ensuring that a job is done exactly the same way each time. To maintain a safe work environment, it is important that you learn and carefully follow the standard operating procedures for your job. Workers with less than 1 year on the job are 40% more likely to be injured at work than those with more experience. These injuries are greatly reduced when employers use proper training and new employee orientation programs. The largest drivers for training are changes to processes or equipment and hiring of new employees. Any new piece of equipment or newly updated existing equipment should be put into production only after its operators have been trained. Whenever new equipment is installed or a new process implemented, a job safety analysis should be performed and affected personnel trained on the changes. A job safety analysis is the best way to make sure safety is part of the job. New employees should be required to attend a safety orientation session. During this session, employees learn about safety practices and the process employees use to communicate safety concerns. Existing employees should be provided with refresher training on hazardous materials, emergency procedures, and first aid. After a new production employee has completed orientation training, his or her participation should be documented according to company policy. People respond to visual messages more readily than verbal ones. The posting of safety and warning signs is an important part of any safety program. The National Safety Council defines an injury as physical harm or damage to the body that occurs as a result of an exchange of mechanical, chemical, thermal, or other energy that exceeds the body's tolerance. There are many types of injuries that can occur in the workplace. Some common injuries include repetitive motion, strains, sprains, cuts, abrasions, and hearing loss. What other types of injuries may occur in the workplace? If an employee is injured on the job, it is very important that a team leader or supervisor is informed immediately, regardless of the severity. Any ongoing safety concerns should be tracked and reported until corrective action is taken. So the severity. The National Safety Council and OSHA define an accident as an unplanned event that results in personal injury, ill health, or property damage. Some of the most common types of accidents that cause injury to workers include falls to lower levels, slips and trips, overexertion, repetitive motion injuries, machine crushing or entanglement, work-related vehicle accidents, falling object or debris, electrocution, and walking into objects. There are many causes of workplace accidents, and most of them can be prevented. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the #1 cause is overexertion. What other situations might result in an accident? Overexertion, poor housekeeping, taking shortcuts, mental distractions, neglecting safety procedures and proper PPE, starting a task without complete procedures, overconfidence, pain, employee costs. Workplace accidents not only result in pain or lost time, they can also cause death. Since OSHA was created in 1970, workplace deaths in the U.S. have decreased 60%, but they still occur. Some of the most common causes of death in the workplace include vehicle accidents, falls, electrocution, fires, and poisoning. Accidents are costly to both employees and employers. For employees, the cost of accidents and injuries on the job include lost income, medical expenses, pain, and suffering. The costs to employers include increased costs of insurance, lost production, and lower productivity. An accident is defined as an unplanned event that results in personal injury, ill health, or property damage. Which organization developed this definition? The #1 cause of workplace accidents is overexertion, according to which organization? Who should be informed if an employee is injured on the job? Repetitive motion, strains, sprains, cuts, and abrasions are all types of blank. An accident is defined as an unplanned event that results in personal injury, ill health, or property damage. Which organization developed this definition? Lost income, medical expenses, pain, and suffering are all costs of accidents to whom? The workplace can be a hazardous environment. Depending on the type of work, there may be many potential dangers. Examples include sparks in the air, falling objects, sharp edges, hot surfaces, and dangerous chemicals. A worker's awareness of the risks is the first step toward protection from injury or death. Dangerous chemicals. Hot surfaces. Sharp edges. Falling objects. Sparks. The workplace can be a hazard. Many hazards can be controlled at the source. For example, barriers or shields can be installed on the equipment or in the work area to physically separate workers from a threat. When such measures are impossible or insufficient, personal protective equipment, or PPE, is necessary. Chemical. Falling/dropping objects. Electrical/sparks. Equipment. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, defines PPE as equipment worn to minimize exposure to serious workplace injuries and illnesses. PPE is designed to protect people from potential injuries that may occur as a result of contact with machines or hazardous substances. Gloves, eye protection, boots, head protection, and hearing protection. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is designed to protect a worker's body from hazards faced on the job. Types of PPE include eye protection, ear protection, head protection, hand and arm protection, foot protection, lung protection, protective clothing. One type of head PPE is a hard hat, or safety helmet. A hard hat can save lives in a work environment where objects can fall from above, such as where materials are stored overhead, or where overhead cranes are being used. It can also prevent injuries in areas that have low head clearance, which could result in a bumped head. Several types of hard hats are available to protect workers from head injuries. The eyes and face can be easily injured. PPE for the eyes and face, such as safety glasses and face shields, guard the face from flying debris or splashing chemicals. A welding mask is specifically designed to protect the eyes from burns caused by welding equipment or lasers. Choose the PPE best suited for the particular hazards of the workplace. Without helmet. Welders emit a bright, blinding flash, which can cause extreme eye damage. With helmet. The welding helmet visor protects the eyes from the bright flash. Excessive noise can make someone sick. Prolonged exposure to high noise levels causes aggression, tinnitus, ringing in the ears, or permanent hearing loss, as well as increased stress levels and elevated blood pressure. When working in a noisy environment, wear earplugs or earmuffs to protect the ears. Some jobs, like painting in a confined space, require respiratory PPE that protects the employee from breathing harmful dust or fumes. Two examples of respiratory PPE are a face mask and respirator. A respirator provides a self-contained oxygen-rich air mixture to breathe for work in places where there is little oxygen or harmful fumes. On the job, Some workers must handle harmful substances that could result in bruises, abrasions, cuts, punctures, fractures, chemical and thermal burns, or even amputations. Gloves, finger guards, and arm coverings are PPE designed to protect the hands and arms from these hazards. Without protective gloves. If the chemical that is being poured can cause skin damage, then any splash can cause injury to the worker. With protective gloves. Wearing the proper protective gloves protects the worker in case of spills or splashes. Working in extreme temperatures or with hazardous chemicals may require PPE that protects the entire body. What are 3 examples of harmful chemicals you encounter in your daily life? To protect the legs and feet, some employees may be required to wear impact-resistant safety shoes to prevent puncture wounds or leggings and shin guards to protect the legs from sparks or debris. Most PPE made for the workplace are constructed of special materials that are designed to withstand certain kinds of applications. So it is very important to choose the right PPE for the job you are going to do, and not to simply use whatever PPE you have at hand. For example, many types of gloves are used in the workplace. Some gloves are designed for handling rough objects and are often made of thick leather, while gloves for chemical use may be made of some type of rubber or synthetic material. The purpose of PPE is to protect employees from the risk of injury by creating a barrier against workplace hazards. OSHA requires employers to create standards for the use of PPE for each job in their workplace. Employers are required to design a PPE program based on careful evaluation of the physical and health hazards present in the workplace. This assessment helps reduce the employee's risk of hazardous material exposure in their workplace. The employer is responsible for providing the necessary PPE and training employees on the proper way to use it. In school, what PPE training did you receive in classes such as art, science, technology, and cooking? The best protection against potential harm is a thorough evaluation of the hazards in the work environment. The process of identifying these potential hazards is known as a hazard assessment. During a hazard assessment, the assessment team should walk through each step of the job to identify the potential hazards. When finished, the information about the potential hazards should be used to decide which types of PPE are required for the job. Avoiding workplace accidents starts with becoming aware of types of potential hazards. Hazard assessments review 11 categories of hazards: impact, penetration, compression, chemical, temperature, harmful dust, radiation, light, biological, electrical, and mechanical. Impact injuries occur when part or parts of the bodies are struck forcefully by an object or objects. Injuries can range from minor abrasions to concussions, blindness, or death. Penetration injuries occur when objects pierce the clothing and skin. Nails, glass, and sharp metal can penetrate clothing and shoes. Objects can puncture the skin and cause injury. Care must be taken to prevent these types of injuries. Compression is the process of applying a force to an object to reduce its volume. Compression injuries may occur when motorized vehicles roll over a part of the body or when heavy objects are dropped on parts of the body. They can also occur when body parts become trapped in moving machine parts. Knowing the properties of the chemicals used at work helps to avoid their dangers. Inhalation is the most common way a chemical enters the body. Some chemicals are relatively harmless on their own, but are hazardous when combined with certain other chemicals. Be sure to read the information provided by your employer about the specific chemical hazards at work. Prolonged exposure to cold or heat can result in serious health problems. If the body cannot properly dispose of excess heat, it will store it. If the body temperature rises above 102 degrees Fahrenheit, 39 degrees Celsius, a worker becomes less efficient and is likely to experience signs of heat stress. Airborne contaminants include gases and vapors, aerosols, sprays, mists, smokes, fumes, and airborne dusts. Airborne dust is of particular concern because it can cause lung disease. Employers should provide information regarding the types of dust hazards that exist in the workplace. Be sure to understand how to protect yourself from airborne dust hazards. Mineral dusts from the extraction and processing of minerals. These often contain silica, which is particularly dangerous. Metallic dusts such as lead and cadmium and their compounds. Other chemical dusts such as bulk chemicals and pesticides. Vegetable dusts such as wood, flour, cotton, tea, and pollens. Mold and spores. Radiation is a type of energy that is transmitted in waves or particles. Light, heat, and electromagnetic signals are types of radiation, so everyone is being bombarded by radiation each day. Most radiation energy is low energy and usually not harmful. However, radiation can be potentially harmful if you are exposed to high energy levels or exposed to lower levels for a long time. High energy radiation is given off by X-ray machines, lasers, arc welding, intense sunlight, and radioactive substances. Light radiation in the form of lasers can also be harmful. The term laser is an acronym for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. A laser emits radiation in a narrow beam. This beam may be a single colored ray of visible light, or it may be part of the infrared or ultraviolet spectrum. High levels of laser light can burn or cut through your body, and even lower levels can burn your eyes. Biological hazards include bacteria, viruses, and other infectious agents that can cause illness or death. The health risks depend upon the type and amount of biological hazard to which someone is exposed. Knowing the safety procedures for preventing exposure to biological hazards is vital to your health. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, or NIOSH, reports that on average, one person is electrocuted on the job every day. Many people are unaware of the dangers present in the electrical equipment they encounter every day. Even brief contact with an electrical current can cause burns, shock, or death. It is important to recognize and minimize electrical hazards by using safe work practices, such as using the proper PPE. The moving parts of tools and equipment pose a mechanical hazard. Loose clothing or long hair can become entangled in a belt drive motor. The rotary gears of a conveyor can pinch fingers. Make sure moving parts have guards and you report any machine that is not well guarded.